Welcome into the Common Dad Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I am your host, Justin, and I am, of course, joined by Andrew Gene Holland the First.
I mean, sure.
I think.
My dad's not named that, so
yeah.
Pulling out the middle names.
Yeah. I'm glad I got it right, too. It's good.
Justin Cleopatra Gray.
Yeah, that's it. That is it. Old JCG, that's what they called me back in the day. I was very disappointed 2 nights ago. So every now and then I'll catch up on some movies that I, for whatever reason, just missed. You know, like we had the whole Die Hard thing. I finally watched Die Hard a couple years ago. And it was good. I enjoyed Die Hard.
And you were not disappointed by that?
I was not. It was good. It was very good.
But you still have only seen the first one, is that
I've
correct?
only seen the first, or second, third, fourth, and fifth. Does it get better?
Second one is good.
Okay.
Third one is second one. It gets a little not as good as the first. The third one is pretty darn good.
Okay.
I mean, Samuel L. Jackson in it.
That's
not bad.
Pretty good.
I wouldn't worry about any of the others after the third.
Okay.
I would make it to the third. But
I can do that. So last night I am perusing, and so a couple weeks ago we watched the newly revised Tron with Jeff Bridges.
Okay, good
and
one.
I was like,
it's pretty
man,
good.
I forgot how much I like Jeff Bridges. So I was like, I want a little more.
Have you seen the original Tron? Because you know it's not the remake.
Right. It's a sequel.
It's a sequel.
Yeah. Is he in the original?
I don't believe so.
Okay. No, I have not seen the original. No. But anyway, I
was
like,
careful.
man,
be prepared. If you ever decide to go back and, well, you know, I have made it through the original.
It doesn't look good.
But it's an 80s computer movie.
How good could it be? Yeah.
It's rough.
I'm sure.
It's pretty nerdy, I would say. Like if you like computer stuff, then you'll get the puns that they put into it and what they're talking about. But otherwise, it's
not
very
fantastic,
not great.
I've always felt like more of like one of those like popular like cult following.
But it does
movies.
set the entire story to the modernized Tron. I mean that it is a genuine sequel. So without the first one, there isn't a second one.
I'll have to go back and watch it. But anyway, I was like, all right, I want some more Jeff Bridges because I forgot how much I liked him. He's really good. And I'm scrolling, and The Big Lebowski comes across my screen, and I realized I have never actually watched that whole movie to completion. Like, it's one of those movies that's like always on TV or always was on TV. So I felt like I've watched it all, but not really, like not actually paid attention. So I was like, all right, this movie seems to be universally loved. It's got Jeff Bridges. It's got, Fred Flintstone. What's his name? John Goodman. It's got Steve Crazy Teeth Buscemi. So I was like, this has got to be good. And I was pretty underwhelmed. Like,
I mean, it's a 1990s movie. You think it's the time or just
no? I wasn't expecting it to be like some crazy like action flick, but I was expecting it to be pretty funny.
Gotcha.
And I think I laughed like twice, maybe. Like John Goodman really saved it for me. Really, like the dude was, I don't know, he didn't do much, but just drink White Russians the whole time, which I guess is kind of the character. Like I get it, but like for me, John Goodman carried it. Like the bit where he's like, "You want a toe? I'll get you a toe. It's not a problem."
I did just check, and Bridges is in the original Tron, 1982.
Okay, that's cool.
Well, I mean,
yeah, I don't know
until you watch the movie and you get what I mean.
I was really like expecting like a what's the movie Pulp Fiction like level of like yeah, this movie's like always going to be good. Like it's a total classic. Philip Seymour Hoffman's in it as the assistant to the actual Lebowski. And it was just like, it's fine. It felt like a mashup between Pineapple Express and Pulp Fiction, where there was just a lot of storylines going on, a lot of drugs going on. And it really didn't have a point. Sam Elliott's narrating for some reason.
I was going to say, you have his voice in there, yep.
No, he shows up at the end. He's drinking with the dude at the end of the movie. And they're like sharing like very like philosophical like feeling. It's weird. But anyway, I don't know. I was disappointed that I was disappointed. I was really expecting a lot. And it let me down. And Steve Buscemi dies of a freaking heart attack. I don't know why. The part where he dumps the ashes all over on accident was pretty horrible. So yeah, I don't know. I give it a B-.
That's still a solid watch, dude.
I mean, yeah, it wasn't horrible. I won't rewatch it. I'll say that. Like, I'm not gonna ever be like, oh, let's turn on The Big Lebowski. If it's on TV,
when you're older, I bet you change that mind. Maybe.
I mean, I would like to be the dude. Don't get me wrong. What a lifestyle.
When you're a little older.
The one part where I laughed the hardest was when he was nailing the piece of wood to the ground to stop the door from opening. And they open it the other way. And he's like, that part that got me laughing pretty hard. But yeah, if there's any other movie recommendations, I mean, I liked Die Hard more than that.
There you go.
So I don't know. I got to go.
Die Hard's just a great Christmas movie. Really gets you in the Christmas spirit.
I mean, it is about him going home for Christmas, so I think I've come around to that idea. All right, before we get on to the final topic, I just have one last thing. Daylight saving time sucks. It's stupid. We should never do it. It makes no sense, and I hate it.
Well, there you have it.
Do you concur?
I if I'm not mistaken, we voted on it, and I'm pretty sure we voted to get rid of it, but it's still here for some reason. So
it's for the farmers. I don't care.
There's a reason Arizona doesn't do it anymore. It's like the one state that just doesn't follow it.
Yeah, they just give everybody else the middle fingers. Cool, change your clocks. Good luck with that. We're not doing it, and I appreciate that. Stop! Immediately stop what you're doing. Thank you so much for listening, but you need to stop. Subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Wherever you're listening to this podcast, stop, subscribe right now. I'll give you a couple seconds. If you're driving, pull over, stop and subscribe. Okay. Thank you so much. Back to the show. All right. Well, that's the episode. Thank you so much for joining.
Our thoughts
just to hear me complain about The Big Lebowski and the Sun. No, we are going to be talking about an actual topic tonight, and that would be the unrealistic, not expectations, but what's the word? The unrealistic. This is a good podcast. I don't know the title of the episode, people. Unrealistic stereotypes of fathers, or really men/fathers, in society, and really more in. I feel like it's more in media and movies, TV shows. I feel like some of it has gone away because if you look, if you watch movies way back when, and like from the 50s, 60s, 70s, the feeling was like the man had a very strict role to work, to come home. The wife was to clean. Like that was pretty. You watch the Dick Van Dyke Show. That's the whole movie.
Yeah,
that's the show.
There was a standard that every family was to a degree expected to follow.
Yeah, and I don't feel like that's there. Or at least that stereotype's there so much anymore. Do you feel like that's kind of put away?
I think for 90% of the country, probably, yeah, that's gone. I think there are probably some rural areas where they follow a little bit more of the conservative, stereotypical roles.
And there's always going to be a percentage of the population that just is a solid 20 to 30 years behind.
They're classic.
Classic's a word you could to describe that. Sure, you could say that. Yeah. But there are certainly more stereotypes, different stereotypes that have kind of like morphed and changed. And it feels like, well, there's really two main ones we want to talk about. And I have a couple smaller ones that I just kind of noticed from a day to day. But it feels like from a fatherhood standpoint, from a man's standpoint, it's one of two options. You either have superhero dad, who is, well, if you watch the movies, a literal superhero, or, you know, from a more practical standard, superhero dad making six figures, fit, in shape, does it all, you know, makes the money, just is picture perfect. Or you have deadbeat, garbage, piece of crap, absentee dad. And there's really not a lot of middle ground, perceived middle ground. I think there's a ton of middle ground.
Obviously, there are millions of dads who are not the picturesque,
yes,
chiseled abs dads.
Millions upon millions.
I think the bulk of us don't fit either of those categories. So what you're saying is that the stereotypes are that you're one of those two categories.
It
not
feels
that there
like
actually are only those two categories.
Yeah, and really actually, you know, one of those things is like this. We talked about the sitcoms earlier. Like now the sitcom is dopey, stupid dad who doesn't know anything, who is married to. It's dopey, stupid, out of shape dad married to smart, intelligent, super duper hot wife. And that actually hasn't changed very much. That's still, you look at Modern Family, My Wife and Kids. I mean, the list goes on with all those shows. That seems like I remember one of my favorites was the Bernie Mac show. That was like, there was a mold, it felt like, for a while. And I don't even know, do you think I don't watch a lot of TV shows anymore, but it feels like that's still the typical thing.
I'm not watching a lot of, that's more of like your sitcom style. I'm not really watching a lot of sitcoms at the moment.
Yeah. So. My picture perfect dad is Joel from The Last of Us. That's who I want to be. There's his zombie
cold,
apocalypse.
Reserved, and
yeah, in a great shot.
Kinda.
Yeah.
There you go.
But so before we dive into those, I had a couple ones that I wanted to just touch on real quick. And one of them kind of goes along with it, but I think there is a general feeling, stereotype, that fathers are kind of dispensable. When it comes down to a relationship, if there is a divorce, that the feeling is towards the woman, and I'm not saying this is accurate, it just feels, this is a general feeling. The feeling towards the woman is like, oh, good job, girl, you got rid of that man, go find somebody else better. The feeling towards the man is like disgrace. You know what I mean? Like, you failed. You had one chance to be a father, a husband. Like, you
I don't know about failed.
I don't think it's true. I'm saying that I think when people see a divorced,
sure. I mean, you look at like our legal system, and you look at the statistics, and the statistics show that typically in divorced families, the women take the kids, and the men end up, you know, paying the alimony, child support. Yeah. So stereotypically, the trend that you're talking about is there, that, you know, typically the wife gets the kids.
Yeah. That's, you know, I don't even think that's a reason for that. I think that's 100% true.
Right.
But even if there's not kids involved, just in general, like a divorce, it for me, it's always felt like you usually see the dad in disgrace, or that's how he's viewed. In the opposite,
sometimes it's his fault, isn't it?
No, sure, it absolutely can be. I'm not saying it's not. It just feels like that's what it is. And I've never understood why. I guess it's because It's the idea that the man is supposed to be the one to uphold the relationship. If it's broken, fix the relationship, or just find a way to get through, even if it sucks. Just, find a way to, grit your teeth and tough it out. And it's just like, I don't know. It just doesn't seem fair at all. And I'm not saying either party should, obviously depending on the situation, but sometimes the divorce is just best for both parties. It's usually not best for the kids, of course. But if there are no kids involved, nobody should have to be in disgrace.
Divorce is necessarily a great thing.
No, definitely not.
I think your modern day family right now, your modern day couples, people in general, do not put enough thought into or importance on the concept of marriage.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in the vows: till death do us part, for life, for death, like to good, for better or for worse.
Right.
It's the vows are there, and you're making these vows in front of friends and family that you're willing to honor these vows, that you're going to stick by these vows, sickness and health, for better or for worse, all these different things. And yet we have TV shows that are married at first sight.
Right. Yeah.
Sounds like we're making a joke out of it.
Absolutely.
And then we wonder why the divorce rates are so high in broken families and all these other things. And it's like, well, we entered into the relationship side of, society completely backwards.
Trivialized.
Like,
completely.
So sure, maybe the best thing in some of these situations is divorce, but the best thing in these situations would have been for them never to get married in the first place. Yeah,
absolutely. You're right. Yeah, like
they clearly. I mean, if you're, especially if you're talking about divorce 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years in, clearly you didn't know the person. You couldn't even make it 5 years. Like,
I mean, we've all
clearly
been
you didn't know that person before you stood in front of all your friends and family and said, "Yep, that's the one."
We've all hung out with those people where you're just like, "Why are you married?" Like, you don't even like each other. Why did you do this?
But then you compound that with, kids. And it's like, well, it's not the kid's fault usually. No. And
yeah. So anyway, I didn't want to make this a podcast about divorce, but I thought that was an observation. And then I have a hot take here.
Oh boy.
In the topic of dad bods. First of all, I looked up
the dad bod's kind of making a comeback though.
Here is my hot take on the dad bod. And if you're listening and you're not watching on the YouTube channel, I'm not a slender person by any stretch of the imagination. So this is directed at myself. And if you feel the shoe fits, feel free to wear it. I think the dad bod is a garbage excuse for a father to let himself go.
Wow.
I do. But I'm saying that because I have said to myself, dad bod, sure, I'll eat this. Whatever. I'm a dad now. I can just embrace the dad bod thing. And it's like, I don't know. It feels like a crappy excuse. I don't know. What do you think?
I think too, I mean, your point, sure. Okay. There's a sense of, if you're just a complete slob on the couch drinking 12 beers a night and you're just, it's the dad bod. Okay, you're a piece of trash.
12 a night, you've got other issues as well. Just
like clearly there's another issue at hand there. But I would dare say you also have an incorrect stereotype about, chiseled abs and 3% body fat and muscles and toning and going to the gym every day and all of that. None of that is necessarily needed. None of that is there's certainly benefits to it, of course. But I think you've got two kind of polar opposites there. And I think the true dad bod is not the fat guy. It's not the Family Guy, Peter Griffin. That's not a dad bod. That's just a fat guy. So
fat guy.
Are you talking about the dad bod or are you talking about the fat guy? Sure, the fat guy, I agree with you, but the dad bod, I kind of disagree with you.
So I don't
think you need to be toned and fit, and because there are so many dads that I know that could absolutely kick the trash out of people who are muscle junkies.
So I'm glad you said that, because this, in my mind, when I was thinking it, first of all, I've been in my life, believe it or not, I have been in incredible shape. I've never once been tone chiseled. I've never seen an ab. I don't think I have the actual muscles, but I have been in great shape. I've been in my life been able to run like almost a sub 6 minute mile. Fantastic shape. I've never been ripped or chiseled. Nobody would ever look at me and be like, man, he's in great shape. So I don't think it's that, because that's not a fair expectation. To get ripped and chiseled, you really have to spend so much time in the gym. Like, I don't think people appreciate.
It's really more about dieting, but
dieting, but like you really have to like focus your whole life on like everything you do is towards getting ripped and chiseled. But anyway, yes. So for me, my goal would be not to get ripped and chiseled. It would just to be in good shape, be healthy, be able to go up the stairs. And I can do this. I'm not saying I can't, but like if I go up the stairs and I'm breathing kind of hard, like that's not great. Or here's an actual example. The other day I went down to like tie my shoes and I was having trouble with the knot. I had to come up for a breath. That's not good. It's not a fantastic sign. Like for me in my head, I'm like, that's probably beyond, oh, I got a dad bod. Like that, I probably need to, and I am trying to get into some shape. But I know I have used that as an excuse to indulge, to tell myself in the moment that, this is fine.
Having strength and endurance is different than having, like, the body is completely unrelated, I feel like.
To strength and endurance?
Well, in the dad bod sense.
Okay. Yeah.
You could have a dad bod, you could have a belly, you could not be, you could not look like you are the most physically fit out there, and you could be really strong and have good endurance and be able to, work hard for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah. I think there's a middle ground. I think you're right. Like when you say that, my thought process goes to my dad. Like he's got a bit of a beer gut on him, but the dude's strong and he works all day long in the sun, like hard. So I know he's in good shape. I couldn't do that now for sure. I don't know. I brought it up and it was a hot take because I thought, like, I don't know. I've used it as a crush.
I see the premise you're making. And I get the premise you're making, but I think there's a reason the dad bod is out there.
All right. So you think it's like
is as popular as it is. Right. The thing is it's like, I see those other dads out there that, like, you look at their calves and their calves are massive.
Yeah.
Dad and then you look at the guy who's in the gym every single day they got these tiny little itty bitty calves. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, the dad's stronger, man. They're lifting the kids up all day, picking them up, throwing them in the air, wrestling with them, going out, load them in the car. Car seats are heavy, dude. Like, you put a kid in a car seat and then you got to carry that all around the store all day or something.
Yeah. I do not miss those days with the newborn trying to carry around the car seat with the kid in the car seat. Mm-hmm. That'll get the biceps going for sure. Here we'll leave the dad bod topic.
I think you're just misassociating dad bod with being out of shape. I don't think the dad bod is out of shape. I think the dad bod is its own category.
So you can have
between being chiseled, chiseled abs and being a fat guy.
So you're saying the goal is to have the in shape dad bod.
Sure.
That's what you want. Okay. In shape dad bod. All right. Maybe that's what I'll go.
Well, it's the strength and endurance of the chiseled guy with the little extra, Yeah. It's like the sleeper race car,
That's sleeper. What it is. That is what it is. Real quick, what do you think the average father puts on as far as weight goes when he becomes a father in the first year?
So this is not the first year of marriage. This is the first year of fatherhood.
Yes.
I would say it's not a lot. I wouldn't think it's a lot. It's a 5 to 10.
3.5
because like the cooking is already there.
Good job.
There you go. It's not bad.
It's not bad. I was disappointed when I saw that because I was like, oh, I outdid that average.
Because the diet, like that. It's more when you get married. When I see the big change when people go from like being the single college guy to being, here we go with the toxic masculinity, having a wife at home cooking meals for you.
Right. All the time.
That's where that needle just goes through the roof in the overweight, the weight gain. Yes. That's where that needle goes through the roof. Once that's been established, you're not sleeping as much. You're carrying the kid all over the place. You're taking the car seat in and out of the car. You're actually more active.
You're doing a lot.
That first year of fatherhood than you are before or after. So you're working a lot of that weight off.
I would agree.
Are you looking for some good, clean bedtime stories for your kids to listen to? Check out our new YouTube channel, Storytime with the Common Dad. New stories are released every Monday.
All right, I'll leave that alone where it is. Let's get back to kind of what we were talking about at the beginning, the idea of the super dad or the slob dad. So those are stereotypes. I tend to think that there is some truth in stereotypes, or they wouldn't be a stereotype, right? So I tend to think that it is in there a little bit. But I also think a lot of that comes from, we talked about media and we talked about movies. Like, nobody wants to see, like, a good movie, a good father, a good character in a movie isn't going to feature a dad right in the middle who's, doing pretty good. It's not that, like, it's just not it's not a character you want to see. So I feel like that plays into it. Do you think
Superman's earthly dad? To a degree, Peter Parker's uncle, who played in Peter's life the role of a father, because he didn't. So he mentored, he raised, he fathered Peter.
Yeah.
You're instilling wisdom. You're not necessarily the superhero.
Mm-hmm.
It's more about, I'm raising this person up to be the man that I hope they can be one day. And, certainly those are both two, superhero examples.
Yeah.
But there are fathers in the movies and shows that I think are representations of what we should strive to be as fathers. It's not about being the chiseled abs hero. It's about, fatherhood is about raising the kids to make smart choices, to do good things, to, be contributors to society, to be good, whatever your version of good is, but to put good out there.
For the record, both those people died.
They did. That's also the role of a father.
That's also the role of a father, yeah. Well, I mean, one was just straight murdered in cold blood. The other one, this is off topic, but Superman's dad walked into a tornado. Like, just let your son save you. He's Superman. You're dumb. Anyway.
It wasn't the right time.
Stupid. So freaking dumb, dude. So dumb. Anyway, do you think there's any truth to those stereotypes, though? Like, is it all right? Let me take it, because of course there's some truth
in reality.
Because there is some of that.
Which stereotype, though? Because you went over the dopey dad. That's just the drunk, absentee, smashing beer cans.
Let me re-ask.
And then you also went over the superhero dad. So which one are you saying is the real picture?
Well, of course there are both of those things. Those exist. I think it's a very, very, very small part of fatherhood community. Do you think it's a larger part, like it's perceived to be? In either direction.
Populace of both. I think in your cities you tend to have a lot of the executive bigwig CEOs who put their kids into private school, and their kids are, taking college classes in middle school, and they're graduating from Ivy League colleges, and they're, making millions of dollars and all these things. Sure, there's that group, but then there's also the hardworking, redneck community that, a lot of times their dads aren't around.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of times their dads are doing what it takes to get by and to provide for the bills. A lot of times they're not making the wisest choices themselves, but I'm sure there are ones out there making the wise choices.
Yeah.
I think those are the two extremes, and so we like to point at the extremes. I think the general populace tends to be in the middle of those two, where, I'm not a millionaire. I'm also not a redneck. So,
It feels like, I agree with everything you just said, but I also feel like that's not acknowledged it's acknowledged by other fathers to fathers, by other men to men, but people that don't have kids who or maybe not in a relationship, not married, not in a serious relationship, that stereotype feels very real to those people. Like it feels like those people look at fathers and it's you're either one or you're the other to them. And it's crazy. I don't know. And maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm completely wrong, but it's just crazy that if I am right in that assumption, that it's nuts that is true. Like I don't know. Like you said, it feels like a lot of people like to deal in extremes nowadays in almost any topic, because that's what's fun to talk about.
I think you look to the extremes to make examples. Certainly you could go with the political example. It feels politically like the United States right now is polar opposites. There is no middle ground. You are either a raging Nazi far right, Republican, or you are a complete liberal, libtard, complete opposite. Like, there is no middle ground. You can't be in the middle. You have to be one or the other. And I think 98 point, whatever people, they fall somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. But that's the other sides are making the noise. So.
News and media like to get clicks on the internet, and it's far easier to get clicks having posts or videos or catchy headlines about Nazis doing marches in I don't know what city. It's like, oh God, what's happening? Let me click on that.
Yep.
And you open it and it's like, oh, well, it's just a group of Republicans. They're just calling them Nazis because they're Republican.
Yeah, it's
all clickbait. Everything is
to
clickbait.
Zero back in on the dad conversation. Like we've all seen a news story ran about an amazing father who, did something great, saved a life, and whatever, did something awesome, which is great, of course. And then we've all seen the news story, the sad version where I don't even want to talk about it, but we've all seen that horrible piece of crap father news bit as well. But you've never seen, hey, Andrew picked his kid up on time from school today, and they went to Chick-fil-A after school.
It doesn't draw clicks.
That's not a thing. Like, and it never will be. The last one I had on here, and I think this falls kind of right in line with what we're talking about.
Hey, for the record, my kids are homeschooled, so I pick them up from school every day.
You do.
All the way from that room to the other room.
It's getting done. That's all that matters, right?
I just walk into the classroom and tell them, go to your room. And I picked you up from school.
Did it. There you go. Problem solved. It'll be a real issue if you're late. But something I see, which I feel like is and always has been true, the thought that a father, or you could even say a parent, really, I feel like this rings true for mothers and fathers, that we should be spending every moment of free time we have with our kids. Like, and if we're not, we're doing it wrong. Like if we don't get off work and immediately go home and hang out and play with our kids, we're neglecting our children. Or we don't love them like we should.
I've never felt pressured in that regard.
I haven't felt pressured by people I know, but I like to think I surround myself with normal people, that don't think in extremes.
No one is normal. So,
but it's the thought process of like, if you see, well, this is a classic example. You see a dad on a golf course. Like, oh man, he's spending 4 hours away from his family. It's like, or he's spending 4 hours to himself to keep his sanity, so he can now go home and, treat his family.
Clear mind.
Yeah, have a clear
with
mind.
Kids running and screaming and banging and spilling drinks on the carpet. And
yeah, I had a little time to decompress, and now I can come home and, or even a better example that rings true for both of us, and I think a lot of dads, especially in our generation, and then in the younger 30s, is video games for sure. I think that's changing though.
I think it's changing a little bit.
10 years ago,
what you're saying. I've never felt that pressure myself, so I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't think most people feel like you're required to do that. And in my own opinion, I think that this is going to come out necessarily wrong, but that's almost a bad choice. It's my job as a parent to raise my kids to live in the world, not to live under my umbrella. If I'm smothering them for their entire life, then they will never have the ability to make choices on their own. If I never give them free time and the free room to make their own choices, to make their own mistakes, without me kind of hovering over their shoulder to protect them, then they're not going to, when they do finally go out into the world, they're not going to be prepared for the world. Now that's not to say that you should never be there.
Right. Yeah. You should. Yeah.
Well, my son turned 4, so I guess it's time to leave.
Yeah. Start your own business, kid.
That's definitely not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's obviously a medium, but spending all of your time with them, no, that's not. They need time to themselves. They need their own time, and they need the freedom to make choices and make mistakes.
Yeah. One of my favorite things growing up when I was a kid, I don't know why I said growing up when I was a kid, obviously growing up when I was a kid, was going to see my dad do his stuff, his hobbies. Going to, he would go play pickup basketball on Tuesday night somewhere. Well, I'm not going to play with him, but I would get to go watch sometimes, or go watch him do a softball game, or like stuff like that, where he's not spending time with me, but watching him do his hobbies, like that was, I don't know, that was a cool memory. Like, it's important. I think it's important for not just dads, but parents to I think there's this thought process that when you have kids, everything changes and your life blows up, and now you drop everything that you do or you've once done, and you're a parent, and that's your full identity, and you don't do anything else. Your whole life now is to make their life better. Like, that's your whole goal. And it's like, no, I don't think so. I think we still retain parts of our lives.
I think for the first few years, that stereotype applies more than when they get a little bit older to where they can be on their own. I do also think so. I know for you have family close that can kind of babysit for you and your wife and give you guys a break.
Yes.
We live near family and very much the same. There are a lot of people that don't have any family close.
Yep.
It is just the husband and the wife and the kids.
Yep.
And it's like, if they're going to go out on a date, they're hiring a babysitter. Maybe it's somebody from the local church. Maybe it's a friend. Maybe it's my friend's daughter who's now gotten, she's 14 or 15, and I'm going to pay her to come babysit the kids. But that becomes a bigger challenge for you to go out and do some of those things. So when you're going out to go play golf, that means your wife's at home doing it herself.
Right.
For us, it might not mean that, because we could drop the kids off with the grandparents who are going to love spending time with them. And you could go out to the golf course and enjoy several hours of golf and then go pick up the kids, and everybody had a great time and had quality time. There are people out there that don't have that option.
Yep.
And so I get the stereotype, but that's where I would challenge you to make friends with other parents. I mean, we've offered to watch other parents' kids before, like do a park day. Like, okay, we'll go to the park, we'll watch the kids, And it's like you can trade off. There's so many options out there if you need a break. Yeah. But so often people don't spend the time to network with their own community.
Yep.
And then they feel as though there's no options. Like, oh, I don't have anybody to watch the kid. It's like, well that's because you haven't gone out there to meet people.
Yeah, you don't have very good friends if you don't have anybody to
jump on Facebook, find something. Like there are so many events on Facebook about, like we just went to a community movie thing our city was putting on. It was the movie Bad Guys. They took a soccer field and they had this like movie projector thing brought in and an outdoor screen, and it was completely free popcorn, free movie. It was out on a soccer field. All the kids were running around. They had free snow cones for the kids. It's completely free. Just all these families and kids in the community. Like you go out there as a family and you will start to meet people. Your kids will start to meet other kids, and then they will ask to hang out with those kids again. And then, some of those relationships aren't going to last, but some of them might.
Yeah.
And then you can find people to watch the kids so you can go play 4 hours of golf. Like a deadbeat dad. Like
a deadbeat dad. That's right. Yep. I think that's a good note to end on. The idea that parents just have to change everything. You don't. You should still have parts of your life.
But you have to have a foundation.
Yes. Yeah. If you don't, then you're probably
then your life is going to change because you're not going to have an option.
Yeah. Yep. But even to that point, I would say, even if you are completely stuck and you don't have anybody that can do that, all right, Dad, well, tonight is your night with the kids and Mom's going out with the girls.
Trade off with the mom.
It's going to be one night. It's going to be a long night, but suck it up. It's your weekend next weekend. Like, just, it's not that
There's
bad.
times Sarah's gone out and I've watched the kids.
It's fine. Yeah.
Put them to bed.
Fine. Yeah. If you got like 2-3 kids, it's not that bad. I feel for the parents who have like 5 or 6 kids. It's like, all right, man. Good luck.
Buckle up.
Enroll your oldest ones to help out. That's what you've got to do. So yeah, this is a good episode. I'm glad we talked about this. If you have any other ones that we've missed, you feel like there's other stereotypes that we didn't talk about, absolutely let us know in the comments on the YouTubes, on the Instagram, on Facebook, wherever you find us. It is 1000% free to subscribe to the new YouTube channel. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, whatever, there is a place somewhere to leave a 5-star review. I don't know where it is, but it's there somewhere. Find it. Just do it. We love you so much. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.